And some lawyers also share Sergei's sentiments. Wale Ogunade and Steve Adaramoye have described Saraki's victory at the tribunal as a travesty of justice.
To be in tandem with what you have acquired while in office or you're spending. And if all this, and with all this, I'm shocked. I'm really shocked with this ruling. And of course, it goes to show and to really put people like us who practice law in a confused state, that do we need to practice law any longer? Are you sure when going to court for the poor man that indeed you are going to get justice?
That it is nothing but a travesty of justice. Even though, in any case, you are bound to have two sides of the coins. But what actually are you using the instrument of law to achieve? That's the most important thing. The judicial section of judicial arm of the government is very essential and very fundamental to the radicalization of justice in the country. And if we see that section is not performing its duty, woe unto that country. You understand? Ordinarily, when you look at the case of Saraki, it's a special case in which we have anticipated declaration. Even a law school, somebody just coming from law school can win such a case.
Well, joining me now is the executive chairman of the Center for Anti-Corruption and Open Leadership, Debo Adeniran, to talk more on this topic, that's the acquittal of Bukola Saraki. I already told you that I'm already sure of your stand on this matter, but let's explore your concerns about this acquittal, considering the back and forth the case has been taken for a while now, and the fact that many lawyers are coming out to say this is a travesty of justice.
Of course it is. Really, I am not surprised about the outcome of the case, because it was something that was apparent even from the beginning. You remember that there are occasions when the chairman of the panel was actually harassed, with some spurious allegations. And what is happening now is like a reenactment of what happened in the case of the former governor of Delta State, James Ibori, whose 170 count charge was dismissed without allowing him to defend any one of them, including the one that contains $15 million that he attempted to bribe the then chairman of EFCC, that the CBN agreed that was resident with it. Now, the trial judge then said that, well, there's no case for him to answer, and he dismissed all the 171 charge. The same thing is happening here. We saw it coming, because what happened during the trial showed clearly that there was an attempt to intimidate the tribunal to submission. Right,
but some others would argue that there were signs that Bukola Saraki would indeed be prosecuted, because we saw some times when some witnesses refused to show up, sometimes when other witnesses came up to actually agree to the charges he was being accused of. So it was tilting either ways at most times. So how sure are you that indeed due diligence has not been followed?
Due diligence, I mean, people could pretend that due diligence was being followed, but in reality, what we were looking at is a script that has been written since a very long time, just being acted out. Saraki already knew that he was going to get out of it, and he has said it since a long time ago, unscathed, because several other indicted, those that were indicted in the past didn't even get any punishment, and those who got punishment, they only got slap on the wrist punishment. What you have now is born out of political expediency. They knew that they will not, successfully prosecute the number 3 man, because the executive is being blackmailed into submission, to the extent that they have said that unless certain things was done, I mean, the case was withdrawn, you know, certain things will not skate through, they are not going to pass budget. Eventually, they negotiated and it was passed. They are not going to approve anybody that was nominated by the executive. They are going to do a number of things that are going to, as a matter of fact, Saraki threatened that he was going to shut down the country, you know, if certain things were not granted, you know, the legislature and all that. And when you look at a legislature that is being headed by somebody who oscillates between the assorted, you know, chair of the Senate presidency and the chairmanship of the National Assembly and the criminal witness box in CCT, you just say, what can you get? On
a broader platform now, how significant is this development to the anti-corruption fight of the federal government?
Well, it's demoralizing. There's no doubt about that. Not only to those of us in the anti-corruption civil society, the investigators, I don't envy them because they did a lot of work to do due diligence investigation. There's nothing they came out with that we convinced an already scolded judiciary. Remember what happened when the imbroglio about confirmation of the of the present Chief Justice of Federation, you know, was going on. A number of brickbats was exchanged between the executive and the legislature. What the legislature was actually doing is not because they like justice. What they were doing is to bribe the judiciary in advance. And you also saw what happened when all these justices were being tried by the, were being investigated by the DSS and the rest of them. The judiciary, the legislature pretended that they are in support of those justices. And of course, they were doing everything possible. When the Senate President's wife was invited by the EFCC, you knew what happened. Many of the high-ranking members of the Senate had to follow her with a view to intimidating the EFCC to submission. And when one arm, as a matter of fact, two arms of the three arms of government combined to intimidate one arm of government, you are not going to get justice. And don't be so sure that even in the executive, there are internal saboteurs there. Okay,
so we've seen pictures of the jubilant mood going on in the Senate, especially between Senator Dino Milai and Saraki, of course. But is this huru for Saraki, especially as people are calling on the federal government to appeal?
No, it is not. It is not huru. He has just started. You know, when the former governor of Delta State was discharged, you know, in the Asaba division of the Federal Court, there was wide jubilation. Even the whole of Ogara was, you know, shut down because they were jubilating. But were they able to, was the jubilation, how long did it last? Okay, look, if yours is the power, if yours is the might, if yours is the influence, if yours is everything, can it last forever? You can't run away from your shadow. What we believe is that this is just the beginning of the Senate President's indictment. And even if we didn't get justice at the Temple of Justice, we will get justice in the heart of people. Okay. And his own conscience will have been the best judge, you know, that we administer justice the way it should be. We are not just interested in judgment, we are interested in justice. Justice has not been done to the people of Nigeria, and it has not been done to the people of the world. The outside world is looking at us, and we are confirming to them that Nigeria is a cesspit of, you know, official corruption.
All right, we'll allow it to rest for now and look forward to who will laugh last at the end of the day. Thank you very much, Debo Adeniran, for joining me on the news at this time. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.